That's clear. Well, it's stuttering a little bit, but not seriously.
That's what it has for low.
Your abuse will now
Let me
be
turn this
like
down. Let me see.
I'm to manually adjust.
Hi, everybody. We're back.
hello.
Just a little bit. At the end of this book lies a crown. It is bestowed only to the finest storytellers in the realm. Every page is empty save for a title. It is your duty to fill these pages with the most captivating tales. Complete this book and prove yourself worthy of the title of storyteller.
Starting with the light topics here.
As all stories do.
Well, this should be interesting, I think.
Thank you, Dragon.
Okay.
Been subscribed for 30
Adam
months.
starts alone, finds love, dies happy. Okay.
Ah, I see what they're going for.
Oh, no.
Yes. Heartbreak. Eve dies heartbroken.
Oh my God.
There, she died heartbroken.
All right. Downer ending.
It's gonna be a lot of these. Seeing the ghost of a lover.
Yo, in the last one, I just realized died already.
Ding.
Rats.
Chapter 1 complete.
Chapter 2, Broken Hearts. A heartbreak is healed.
Oh, new characters.
Edgar.
Bernard is a werewolf.
Just Boxer says, if you're not going to bring out the tuber, you might want to disable the redeems for it. I think everybody can tell that the redeems aren't going to work right now.
I don't know if Jonas has the ability to do that or not.
Do what?
Disable channel point redeems.
Let me see. I should know how to do this.
Oh,
But at the same time, he's right that people should just know and we wouldn't have to worry about re-enabling it or anything.
Better redeemed it.
I bet Twitch won't let you pin a message to the top of
Without
the
any
chat.
deaths.
Let me see if I can disable it.
Nice.
Everything a YouTube video now. It can't just be like a text explanation.
So somebody dies. And then they're back together again.
Unlucky. Everyone rejects Edgar.
Nice.
Oh, that's
Even Death.
mean.
Even Death's like, no, I don't want you, Edgar. I wonder if Edgar even reject himself. I mean, that's one way to do it, yeah. Yeah, I should be taking notes.
Frederick thinks I should try lowering the bit rate.
I think it's actually gotten better as this has gone on my end anyway.
Yeah, it's working smoothly to me. I don't see any lag on my end.
Let me.
Well, you're looking on Discord.
Yeah,
Aren't
but
you?
it's also...
The lag is not the issue, it's the frame rate.
Oh, actually, I see it now on Twitch.
Second. Yeah, it
I'm
looks a
actually
little.
watching them.
It does look a little crunchy, not unbearable, but everything does look kind of.
Take a look
Yeah,
at this.
it is lagging. Yeah, but at like what 6,000? I don't know. Maybe cut that in half. I don't know.
Okay, let me do something real quick to see if I can fix this.
Sure.
Oh,
It's doing a lower bit rate to see if
Let's see if that's any better.
surviving spouses find comfort.
You can see how this is going to go.
I guess I shouldn't be shocked that a game like this is going straight for the heavy narratives, like right out the gate. No point in bothering with the C-spot run, really.
Frederick says better, but still very laggy. That's probably the best that we're gonna get.
Take it or leave it.
Unless I want to bit crunch way down to like the standard definition.
8-bit. No.
Would that be better?
Let me pull it up on the tablet. Oh boy, yeah, it is laggy.
Okay, let me lower it again.
Ooh.
Edgar shocks himself.
Edgar, no. What would Sabin think?
That's a bit better. That's a bit better. It looks more like normal motion now. That's good. Good job.
Oh.
Oh.
I was literally thinking like electrocutes himself the whole time.
Well, I mean, amnesia, looks at the mirror, dogs.
No, he like. I think like. It has something to do with.
And then he dies. So.
What do you take the middle and put it on the left? Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Huh? I thought for sure that would work.
It's weird because I only have one character here.
Yeah.
Can you put Edgar's face on the gravestone too?
No,
He already tried that
Oh yeah.
it just
Okay.
erases
3
him.
times.
I'm not sure I missed that, but okay.
He muted me.
So what's the shocking part? That's the question, right?
I think the shock is when he looks in the mirror, but I'm trying to figure out narratively how that would work. Like it has to be. I think it's after amnesia. He looks in the mirror and his reflection shocks him, but I don't know how the gravestone comes into this.
Do we have to use all of the things?
No.
I just don't understand what death has to do with it.
What's death got to do?
Got to do with it.
What if he was dead and shocked himself to life?
Okay, yeah. There.
Ah!
Nice. That
Wow.
would do it. It's like
Still
Sixth
not sure
Sense.
about that one.
Hey!
Rejected
Yeah,
by
probably.
own spouse. That's terrible.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Ooh, this one's got a bonus on it.
Heartbroken spouses are reunited.
Revive.
Yeah, I've been using that.
Oh.
There's
I
been
see.
like 2 or 3 of them that had that already.
Do they both have to be heartbroken?
I think the idea is they both have to be heartbroken.
That worked.
No, she's not heartbroken.
Oh.
Because revive her, then kill
Then kill him.
Then you kill him.
Yeah.
And then revive him, and then they're back to married again.
Yeah.
What's the bonus?
In
Ah,
the afterlife.
interesting. Well, this is a much shorter version. Can we kill her again? Not bring him back to life? Because she still has to be heartbroken, right?
What if one of them is already dead to start?
No, because they both
Oh,
have
that's
to be
right.
heartbroken.
Yeah.
So the third panel should still be her reviving. Then she just dies after being heartbroken, and then there we go.
Okay.
Perfect.
Heartbreak for everyone.
Cool.
Oh, joy.
Do we even need a revive on this one? I guess. I don't know. Oh, I guess technically you do for the first person who dies.
What happened? Okay, never mind.
What's up, Jonas?
Oh, I was curious, like, what happens if you do a wedding and you put Lenore and Isabel in the same frame?
Man, Lenora would be dead. I don't think.
Well, I mean,
I don't think it allows you to marry a live and a dead person.
No, I just mean in general. Like, could you marry the girls pair? Like, would it let you? You don't have to do that if you don't want to, Rick. I'm just idly speculating.
So.
We have 6 panels here. Let's see.
I mean, I guess you could revive Lenora, but the thing is that Edgar wouldn't be with her anymore, so killing her in the last panel wouldn't be a heartbreak for her.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, but it's him. We need her to be heartbroken.
Oh, by the way, I don't think I can disable channel point redeems from my rank. I think it has to be a rank going through the creator dashboard. I
There
looked
we go.
and the option that I would need, it does not appear to be there.
Lavity.
We're flying.
The setup.
Poison.
I wish Stoker was here for this. Oh, let me poke him, see what he's doing.
Lenora drinks poison.
Not recommended.
Double poison.
Triple poison. I'm back, honey. Oh, jeez. Oh, God. Oh, no. I'm drunk.
Someone drinks poison twice.
So they're like revived and drink poison again.
That's one does.
I really didn't want to live in the first or the second place.
You know, life is rough.
Or maybe ghosts could drink poison and we just didn't know it.
Isabel remarries. I like how her face is. She's like, she's obviously evil. And she's gonna win this.
Easy peasy.
Isabel commits a crime.
Well, this seems pretty straightforward. Oh,
But
that's
everyone
interesting.
meets their demise.
Ooh.
Just pour it in the barrel. Or everybody drinks the wine.
No. Only works once.
Oh, I see.
So, do we actually need the first 2 panels for this?
I think so. Because she doesn't have a reason to use the poison unless...
Unless she wants his fortune. I don't know. This is such a clever concept.
Hmm.
Okay. You just kill yourself?
Is it
Yep.
possible to get them all in the same panel at the end?
No.
I doubt it.
Each scene only allows 1 or 2 characters.
Okay.
Beauty. Curse is lifted.
Just box says crimes.
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 Yeah, okay.
I like the role
Enemies.
reversal.
Deceit. Prince saves Tiny.
Hmm.
Okay, I have an idea. What if you turn Tiny and Snowy into frogs? He meets Snowy, but then he kisses Tiny.
Wow, nice.
Nice one.
That's funny.
A little switcheroo. Or switcherick.
Which
I don't
becomes the mirror's favorite.
know. Okay, can we like boil the frog? I don't know.
I like how she's flabbergasted in that panel.
I don't know what the cauldron's for.
Needs to change her back. Okay. The mirror praises everyone.
Peachy and Haiti.
A cliff.
Oh. And the frog pushes Iggy off the cliff.
You can't. It's just a frog.
I think it'd be funny if the frog just pushed the Haiti off for no reason and went to the mirror anyway.
I already tried putting the frog on the cliff behind Haiti.
Oh.
The frog doesn't hold people. Is Peachy by default the cutest, or is the frog by
Yeah.
default the cutest?
Looks like Peachy is.
Yeah, okay. Frog can't do anything to people.
Wait a minute. One of the frogs at the start and the end. The other two killed themselves on the way.
Huh?
Oh wait,
Huh?
what if? Oh, what if? There we go.
Okay,
Nice.
that works too.
I forget ghoster things sometimes.
The manor. Murder.
What manner of manner?
Butler's rampage.
Ooh. Oh, there he is.
Well, there's the Stoker.
Is it bad?
The muted Stoker.
Don't know why I was muted. Am I unmuted?
No.
You are now.
Ah, good. Anyway, sorry I am late. I didn't know this was happening.
That's no excuse, Stoker.
I was at the movies with Dad.
Oh.
What'd you
He
see?
wanted to see Shazam 2. So
How
we
was
went
it?
and we Shazammed. You know, it was alright. It was alright. It was at least as good as the first one, which was also alright.
That's what I heard, yeah.
They're fun. They don't take themselves very seriously, unlike a lot of other DC movies. Oh, I remember this game.
Shazam is one of the, like, superheroes that, like, I barely know anything about them. Like, you know, like, with Superman,
Well,
like Clark
Jonas.
Kent, you know, blah, 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 Kansas.
Well, Jonas,
yes.
shall
please,
I tell you a little bit about Shazam?
Please.
The main thing I know about Shazam is that he has a buddy that is a talking tiger.
He does. His name is Talkie Tawny. Okay, so here's what you
Name
need to
isn't
know.
really Shazam.
Yes, originally his name is Captain Marvel. But DC has, which owns him, they didn't always own him. As a matter of fact, they once sued his original publisher because they said he was too similar to Superman. He disappeared for a while, and then DC bought out the company, and we're like, well, now that we own him, it's okay that he's too similar to Superman. So they brought him into the fold. But nowadays they're calling him Shazam instead of Captain Marvel because they don't want people to get him confused with Marvel's Captain Marvel. We'll see if they end up reversing that someday, because you know how frickin' superhero companies are.
I think the detective needs to see the dead Duke too.
But yeah, so
Yep.
what you need to know about the Shazam / Captain Marvel mythos is it's gloriously insane.
He's like a kid, right?
Like, okay, so it all starts with an orphan boy named Billy Batson. And Billy Batson is summoned to an extra-dimensional plane of reality called the Rock of Eternity by an ageless wizard called Shazam. And the wizard's like, I'm going to give you the power of the gods whenever you say my name. And his name is an acronym for the powers he has. It's like...
There we go.
Nice.
The wisdom of Solomon, who in this context is a god, I guess. The wisdom of Solomon, strength of Hercules, endurance of Atlas, power of Zeus, something else with an A, and then the speed of Mercury.
I'm impressed you got that many.
Well, see, okay, here's the other thing you need to know. There was a time early in Captain Marvel's existence when he was more popular than Superman. Which is one of the reasons why DC sued them. As a matter of fact, his sidekick, Captain Marvel Jr., was Elvis Presley's favorite comic book character, and Elvis styled his hair to look like his. That's also why when Elvis started his own company, it had a lightning bolt logo.
Elvis was a
There we
nerd.
go.
Yes, Elvis was a nerd. And if you look in those jumpsuits he started wearing when he started doing the Vegas stuff, they look kind of Captain Marvel-y too.
That's right. He had the little like
With a cape and
the
everything.
cape. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
God,
yeah. Ain't that something?
weird to think.
That's actually
So-
really cool. Sort of
Captain
reminds me-
Marvel.
One kills the other.
Oh no!
And we have like immediate ghost revenge.
I mean, that's what I'd do.
Look,
But a ghost for a ghost makes everyone dead.
And another ghost revenge.
But you can't. But
Then whoever else you want to get revenge on, I guess. Which one do you like the least?
I mean, personally, I
Nice.
think Beardo is the bigger dick. He started it.
amazing.
So, the most important thing to know about Captain Marvel, in my opinion, is that one of his arch enemies is a worm. And I mean, like,
Big one.
no, he is not. He is maybe 3 inches long.
Wow.
Calling him a worm may be slightly inaccurate. He's almost more like a caterpillar. His name is Mr. Mind. And in the original comics, he was like an alien worm from Venus or something like that. I don't know what his current origin story is.
Is he like incredibly strong?
No, he has no super strength.
No, he's just a worm. He's a little tiny worm.
These are Mr. Mind's powers. Okay, these are Mr. Mind's powers. He is technically immortal. You can squish him; he will come back. You cannot kill him in a way that matters. He is super intelligent. He's telepathic. He has telekinesis and he can hypnotize you.
Okay, but he's a 3-inch worm. You drop a safe on him, and you know.
He regenerates.
Well, before he does that, put him in a box and then launch it into space.
Yeah, listen. I hear you. I hear you. They've tried all of this. It never works. Because he's a genius. He's
Wow,
a
the
genius evil. He's an evil genius worm.
Baron's a first shooter. Fine, just find an evil genius fish and be like, bro, I'll pay you to eat this.
Reverse it. Do it. Reverse it.
Queen Mary's a fearsome dragon.
I do want to see that.
So those need to be switched, and he needs to be this regular guy in the
Yep.
kidnap sequence.
There. You just need to
Oh,
go.
yay! The real happy ending.
Telling you what.
Of course, now he has to keep that suit on the entire time.
Well, I mean, you know.
Some people are into that, but
Yes, exactly. She
Alright,
knows. She
chapter
knows
8.
what's really going on.
secrets. Detective arrests murderer.
So yeah, that's the most important thing to know about Captain Marvel / Shazam.
Yeah, but
You didn't say anything about Black Adam.
Okay, so his other two arch enemies are Black Adam, who is like,
Rock.
yeah, well, I mean,
exactly.
in the most recent movie, he was the Rock. Yes, Black Adam's kind of morphed a little bit over the years from being a pure villain to being more like an anti-hero type.
Which is so weird to me.
He's kind of like the Submariner in the sense that like he's got his own values and his own code, and sometimes they line up with everyone else's and sometimes they don't.
So he's like Shadow, basically.
He's the Punisher.
Yeah. But he has all the same powers as Shazam because he's basically just an earlier version of him.
You ever notice how often they do that, like Venom and Black Adam and like
Yeah.
Shadow? It's like
Like-
just like you, but grittier.
The wizard gave him his powers like 10,000 years ago or some shit, and was like, oh shit, you're not using them the way I want you to. I'm gonna send you to space. And he goes, Phoom, sends him out to space, and then he spends the next 10,000 years returning. But he has to stay in his super form. He can't return to his mortal form anymore because if he does, he'll immediately age 10,000 years.
Why does it take him 10,000 years? I mean, space is.
That's how far he sent him out.
You know how big space is.
Dude, space is like it's. I mean, come on, it's about 10 miles. Okay. Not
Listen,
that.
space is at
Pretty spacious.
least as big as Alaska.
I'm skeptical.
At least as big as Alaska.
I'm a small spacer.
Grr, she says.
And let me tell you, Alaska is the size of Alaska.
I don't know about your
I
facts.
have a hard time believing that.
I mean, you know, I remember being in like second or third grade and seeing the maps, the weird projection where Alaska looks like the size of like you know, like it's like twice the size of America or whatever. Thinking,
Alaska's twice the size of America.
man, that, what,
I mean,
the
Alaska
lower
takes up a really good portion of the lower 48 if you actually superimpose it.
Oh yeah, it's bigger than Texas and California put together.
No, but like in the old projection style,
Which kind? Because there are a lot, and they
I
all have their
remember-
issues.
I remember someone in Alaska. It's a running joke in the state because Texas like to whine a lot about no longer being the biggest state. They're like, "Fine, we'll split into two, and then you can be third biggest."
let's see.
But the Duke isn't home.
Mercator projection.
Real
that's-
question is, how does it compare to Argentina?
We don't talk about Argentina.
We also didn't talk about Bruno.
I talk about Bruno.
Don't cry for me, Argentina.
I cry for Bruno.
All right, here, hold on. I'll show. Excuse me. I'll show you all. No, I'll just paste it in the stream.
Excuse me.
Here. Yeah, this
Not
is how
that we
it was. when I was-
did.
This is how it was when I was a kid. So we had this impression that like Alaska is bigger, is bigger than like, you know.
Alaska is bigger on the inside.
Yeah, that's what I mean. No, we had this impression, you know, just looking, you know, because you know, when you're like 8, you don't understand this. So we had this impression that like Alaska is, you know, like taller top to bottom than the entire United States. Greenland and Russia are these gargantuan countries, and Antarctica is like this whole other planet, you know, because I mean, look how big it looks
Where are you showing this?
in the stream chat.
Maybe you can put
I don't see
her
it
and the
in the stream.
detective.
Oh, the chat's paused. I didn't pause it.
Wait a minute. What if
There it is.
What if the Duke is the witness, but Dutch
literally says, but the Duke isn't home.
Okay, come on.
So she tells him about the gun, and then he shoots her, and then the detective arrests him.
Sure, why not?
I mean, it worked.
Justice. Usurper dies.
If you squint at it, it passes for justice.
Oh yes, the old squinty justice routine.
Yeah.
No cliff to make this easy.
We haven't talked about TFF yet.
Yeah, we haven't. Well, actually, I don't know if we have because I just got here. I don't know what y'all were talking about without me.
Well, I mean, this is the first time we've streamed since the con.
Yeah, but I mean, you've been streaming for what, 20 minutes?
Knight
Well-
saves her and then executes.
Also, how is your computer holding up, Rick? I've been hearing that you've been having some issues.
This one's chugging.
Ugh.
The laptop doesn't have a landline port for it.
You know, if you want me to, and feel free to say no, I can hook you up with the friend who helped me build mine. Because he knows his stuff, and I don't.
Well, part of the problem is that I would need access to parts.
True.
There just doesn't seem to be any good computer parts stores around here. There's some computer parts stores around here, but it's not really like focused on that sort of thing.
So bummed that Fry's closed.
Yeah, I liked Fry's.
Yeah, you know, I have to get everything now through freaking, online. And that's it's
Amazon,
doable.
Newegg.
Yeah, and it's doable, but it's so much easier to just be like, okay, go over there, talk to a pro.
Not to mention Fry's was so unique.
Yeah.
Like
About
every single
Microsoft?
Fry's store had its own unique theme. Jonas took me to the train station one. That was fun.
Yeah, Fry's was a magic place. Every Fry's store had a different. Like there was like an Aztec one, there was a UFO one.
I wish I could have gone to the
There was
UFO one.
Tesla, not Elon Musk Tesla. there was,
Nikola Tesla,
Nikola
the real Tesla.
And then like Amazon just wrecked them, put them out of business, because nobody can compete with that.
Okay, so I think I do not actually need that since Queen starts at the crown.
That's my
So-
guess.
Okay. And Baron takes the crown.
But yeah, don't worry, folks. Things will be back to normal eventually.
Things will thing again. Will thing again.
So you said you wanted to talk about TFF? Because we can.
Yeah, we should, because nobody. Well, not very many folks, regulars from the stream, were able to attend.
Oh.
Yeah. Y'all weren't able to be there for the Roo Croo live when I killed it at Quiplash.
Yeah, so it was me, Rick, Stoker, Crystal, Dis, and Fed.
And you forgot Miller.
And Miller.
Wow, I can't believe he's gone for one stream and you've already forgotten everything about him. I bet you don't even remember his face, do you? Well, I remember your face.
Whose face? No.
Your face.
Okay.
Yeah, America TFF.
Yeah. So yeah, they put us in one of the event rooms at 10 p.m. And next door was the what was it, VR chat or something event. So it was we heard the bass
Yeah, there was there was an ounce.
Yeah, which was the second time they did that to poor Rick. We had a couple little AV goofs early on.
I know what.
But there was this amazing TFF techie named Akpos, I believe.
I believe so.
Close. Yep.
Yeah.
He was great. He helped
came
us
through for
so
us.
much.
Big time. I need to track him down and draw him stuff.
Yeah, jeez.
Yeah. I wore my Quiplash shirt that Fed got for me.
And I wore mine.
Not Quiplash, TKO. I wore my TKO shirt. Yeah.
There we go.
I wasn't sure.
I wore the one that made me absolutely lose it laughing for minutes the first time I saw it in one of those games.
Yep. I was honestly not sure how it would go, but it went great. It was fun.
Yeah, we could have, honestly, if we could have finagled that to be an even bigger event, I would have had just as much fun. That was great. I loved it.
But yeah, everything really just worked out good.
Should do that again sometime.
Totes.
Totes my goats.
Goats.
Jinx.
Other than that, the con was good. I'm pleased to say folks were cool. Everybody was masking. It was good. Not always inconsistent, but for the most part.
Constantly, perpetually.
Yeah, thank you. Lots of fursuits.
No
Lots
way.
of freaking fursuits.
That is the yeah. That's a
That's
thing.
norm now. Yeah.
You telling me there were frickin' furries at this frickin' furry convention?
Mm-hmm.
Frick.
I got to
Frick Griffin. Sorry, go on.
Thank you. Yeah.
Frick Griffin.
That's what I said.
Got my step goals in for all 40 days of the con.
Did you say 40 days? Because that's what I heard.
All 40 days of the con, we're still there.
40 days and 40 nights, Jinx.
God, can you imagine how? Can you imagine how burned out someone would be after a 40-day convention? That would be amazing. Everybody would be just clawing the walls by the end of it.
I think I would completely lose my mind and declare myself king.
Got to check out a couple of the great eatery spots around Dallas. Miller
Did?
knows. Yeah. God, it was so good. It was deadly, but it was good.
Deadly good.
They got to do hot wings. Well, hot wings one night and then hot chicken fingers the other day.
And you went for maximum spiciness both times.
That's right, because
Glutton.
Yeah, I do not need that.
what's the point of mild?
What's the point of mine?
Look, life is short. Feel the
Life is short, burn out your taste buds.
Like short, play all the games.
The elevators were a minor annoyance, but I'm used to that. I'm used to that happening at cons.
I mean, that's just part of the con experience,
Right,
It
bro.
really is.
I got to meet. Who did I meet? I met.
You got to meet Stoker.
I got to meet Stoker. He's a big dork.
Really meet Stoker.
I got to meet Slush Dog. They're freaking awesome. They actually have that energy in real life if you've ever seen their streams. You got to meet other people.
Did you ever get around to? Did you ever get around to saying hey to Michelle White?
No, but
How dare you?
She's at every con, so it's fine. I also didn't get a chance to say hi to Casey.
Casey. Yeah,
but
I
she
finally got my penny that she drew me and I lost replaced.
So cute.
Saw it.
Yeah, Casey was really busy. I didn't want to distract her from doing her thing. I got to
Whereas
see,
I'm just a jerk and I'm just like, pay attention to me.
Thank you. Stoker and I got to meet one of our old friends from back in the day.
Yes! Coyote, not Greg's Coyote, a different
different
Coyote.
Coyote.
I haven't seen her in at least a dozen years,
Yeah.
maybe more.
Yeah, about 10, 15 years. And
I'll talked a lot.
Yeah, we did. Like,
Yeah.
we hung out. She did.
She's
we
great.
fought crime.
we both grabbed, yeah, we all donned superhero outfits and flew through downtown Dallas. No, but she's a lot of fun. She really is, and she gave me a whole bunch of suggestions for if I ever do tabling.
Which could happen.
Yeah, it's not impossible.
It's not impossible.
Who else did we see? I met Spalding. Spalding.
Roommate even.
Yeah, that's right. I was a room with Spalding. He's a great guy. Really, really solid. Really reliable. Really nice. He moderates for Radicoon. Who else did I meet? There were definitely other people, other entities.
No, that's it. You didn't meet anyone else.
It was my first FurCon in 8 years. 8 years.
Well, you know what, Jonas? You still smell just as fresh as you did at the last one.
Stop it, you. And
Not
then
particularly fresh.
Funky fresh, even.
that's right. Don't you forget it.
Forget what?
Okay. And then I had a nightmare travel experience trying to get home.
That was
Yes, he
so
did.
unfortunate.
That is one of the craziest things I have ever heard of happening. Listen, y'all, most of you probably already know this, but just gotta say it for emphasis. Don't fly Spirit. Don't do it. Just say no.
So,
I'll remember that someday then.
oh god.
All right.
If
execute-
all your friends are like, you have to fly Spirit, the other option is to jump off a bridge, you take the jump.
You'll probably get further in terms of distance jumping off the bridge than booking with Spirit.
It's sad because it's true.
Okay, so, the nice denouement to all that, nice, I should say, satisfying, adequate, is that they eventually reimbursed me. They gave me what they described as a tearaway refund, which I've never heard before, but apparently.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's great.
Well, this was after this was a day and a half after I'd gotten back home and just cooled down and like stopped,
Frothing at the mouth
yeah,
like a rabid
the
raccoon.
rage had semi-abated at that point, and I said, okay, I'm just going to file an official complaint. And I waited on hold for like 45 minutes.
Okay, that's funny.
Nice. But yeah, they gave me like a partial refund where they subtracted the fare for the first hop, which actually, the one that I actually ended up flying on.
It's funny that they subtracted the fare for the one that you flew and not the ones you didn't.
No. What I mean is they took the refund. They subtracted the fare for the flight that I did take from the total refund.
Oh, I see. Okay, that makes more sense.
Hop that I didn't make. Yeah,
that makes more sense.
So whatever. It doesn't really make up for the sheer amount of just anger and stress that I felt. But I mean, you'll live and learn.
Yeah, I mean,
Live and
What are
learn.
you gonna do?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna book well in advance next time. I'm gonna definitely
Book with a different airline.
Yeah. Maybe.
Did you not have
Box.
recommendations? As I never fly.
I'm a bad because I still have to.
Okay. I fly out of SeaTac, and most of the time the one I get is Alaska Airlines, but I don't know if they service your area or if they're the best option for where you are.
Alaska does service Dallas, I can tell you that.
Oh, okay. Well,
I've flown with Alaska out of DFW before.
I've never had a problem with them. I mean, everybody has a horror story about every airline. Okay, I mean,
Yeah, of course.
Google John Mulaney Delta sometime, but
This is Delta Airlines, cause life is a fucking nightmare.
Hey Rick, what if the Baron kidnapped the Queen a second time?
Sucks to be her.
For the record, Kieran, I did all that on both trips, and it worked fine on the. You see, Google has had bad luck with Alaska. Everybody has had bad experiences with for every airline. There's somebody who can very validly say that, head in a basket.
They can very validly say head in a basket.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the somewhat violent little comic we've got going here. If you want to see it, Carrie, and go to my Twitter and look at the angry threads that I posted Tuesday. I got up at 2:45 Central Time the morning after the convention to try to get to the shuttle at 3:30 to be there for a 5:30 flight, and oh god. No, I'm just gonna plan differently next time.
I think the knight and the queen got to be married at first.
Can I gotta tell them about the Sonic panel.
Ah,
Please.
okay.
You didn't even tell me about the Sonic panel.
Yeah,
Oh, did I
was
not
there
get a
for the-
chance to tell you about the Sonic
I
panel?
have not heard what happened at the Sonic panel.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
Tell us, Justin.
the Termite King demands it, Justin. Okay, so there was an entire panel on the weirdest Archie Sonic the Hedgehog lore. Which I had to be there because I was there when the Deep Magic was written.
Also,
And so many
one who will
people
not be
there.
named.
So many people there did not know about this, and it was incredible hearing people just constantly going, "What? What?" at every new revelation, because there's a lot. Even with y'all, I've only touched the tip of the iceberg.
Okay.
So the panel was conducted by someone who was, first of all, she was excellent. She, despite the fact that she was not reading these comics when they first came out, she was a youngin'. She'd been reading them for a while and knew a lot about them. And this was not only her first panel ever, this was her first furry convention ever. So she decided, my first fur con, I'm gonna do a panel, and she knocked it out of the park. She had a PowerPoint presentation covering some of the highlights. The room we were in was way too small because she didn't think as many people would show up for this cursed Sonic knowledge as they did. The room was filled all the way to capacity.
Completely full.
Completely full. Hey, Dis.
Hello.
It is.
Hello.
And the best part, the absolute highlight for me, was she coached the entire room to yell, "Fuck Ken Penders" in unison.
See, this is what I was expecting.
I have never felt so seen, so valid. I could have cried. It's a beautiful thing when a room
united in their loathing.
It's a beautiful thing when everyone is united in their hatred for a baby boomer who doesn't know they exist. Who wrote his 25-year-old skunk OC making out with a 15-year-old princess. And that's one of the least problematic things he did. Did I ever tell y'all about the time he rewrote a poem about the Holocaust to be about hedgehogs and echidnas?
You did mention it.
I think
Ken-
I've been spared that.
Ken Penders is the gift that keeps on giving, y'all. You think you've... That made me feel something I'm not sure I wanted to feel.
It's being weird, I guess.
Well, this.
She did talk about one thing. Y'all know I love to talk trash about Penders and talk about how much better Ian Flynn's writing is. But she did remind me that Ian Flynn did do one thing that was downright, dare I say, Pendersonian in its level of what that I had forgotten about.
Let's hear it.
That would be the time that Ian Flynn gave Charmy the Bee a lobotomy.
What?
Yeah.
Rick, aren't you glad you invited me to these streams in the
Yeah.
first place? Okay, so this is going to require a little bit of backstory.
Oh my
So-
god, Charmy.
So here's the thing, okay? In the 90s, Sega of America and Sega of Japan really did not like each other. I've never heard anybody explain why explicitly. It is my own pet fan theory, my headcanon, if you will, that it's because Sega began life as an American company, and there was lingering resentment in the US branch at the fact that the Japanese side of the company basically ended up being in control. Before anyone asks, I do not know how that happened. I don't know all the corporate politics of it. I do know that Sega began as an English acronym that was like Service Electronic Gaming something something. So they didn't communicate with each other very well. And the English side of things, the American side liked to change things without consulting with Sega of Japan. Like changing the name of Dr. Eggman to Dr. Robotnik. And they tried very hard to do the same thing with Tails. They very badly wanted his name to be Miles per Hour. But eventually they came to a compromise with Sega of Japan about this, with Miles being his given name and Tails being a nickname. You'll note that they did not do the same thing with Knuckles or Shadow or Rouge or any of the others, because by that time Sega of Japan had tightened the leash a bit more. But sometimes they did shit like this intentionally, and sometimes it was accidental. I'm not sure which of them gave rise to the Charmy Bee situation, but basically when Charmy made his video game debut in the smash hit Knuckles Chaotix for the 32X, they printed in the instruction manual that Charmy Bee was 16 years old, because they listed all the characters' names and ages in that manual. That was either them changing things deliberately or them just doing a fucky-wucky. But either way, in the Japanese version, his age is listed as 6. So they added 10 years onto him. And since Archie was going off of the information they had from the instruction manuals, they treated Charmy like he was 16 years old for the purposes of the Sonic comics, which in the Sonic comics, a 16-year-old is basically an adult because they're all child soldiers waging hellish war against Dr. Robotnik. Which is very weird when you think about it. Yeah, I mean, let's be real. Robotnik is objectively the better name. Can we just agree with that?
I do.
Can we just agree?
I have no qualms with that whatsoever.
So, the Sega didn't know that, you know, they were writing all kinds of shit about Charmy Bee, like, he was a prince of bee royalty, and, oh yeah, he got married.
Charmy got married?
Charmy got married. This was after his childhood best friend died of an LSD overdose. I think I've talked about that before, though.
Yes, you mentioned that.
Okay. Because that one really is, like, the crown jewel of what? Like, even what I'm about to describe really doesn't quite rival that one, in my opinion.
I don't even know what to say right now.
I don't know why it's Charmy in particular that has all this shit. Anyway, sometime after the ousting of Ken and the reign of Ian, Sega discovered that they were writing Charmy as way older than he was supposed to be, and they told them, fix this. And they're like, how do we take 10 years off this character's age? With all this established, he has a wife. What do you expect us to do?
Oh, no.
And Sega's like, I don't care, fix it. So,
Lobotomy.
Ian, to his credit, he does say he regrets this decision. There was a storyline at the time where Robotnik was capturing a bunch of the good guys and putting them into these weird pod storage things he called egg grapes. And they were a combination prison cell and like power battery that would drain your life force out to power his machines. Kind of Matrixy. And basically,
thank you, Roasting Cookies, for the subscription.
Yes, thank you. Basically, Charmy was the first test subject for these pods, and he hadn't gotten it quite right yet. So, by the time they rescued Charmy, he had permanent brain damage.
God.
And, I mean, it wasn't treated as like a throwaway gag or something without consequence. I mean, Sonic was pissed. But it was still a very questionable way of handling this. I mean, there's so many other things you could have done. There's already been established that there's time travel in this series. There's alternate universes. There's magic. There's so many things you could have done other than frying the poor kid's brain. Did I mention he was still married?
I mean,
So what ended up happening to Charmy then?
He continued being Charmy, just with the brain of a 6-year-old.
I'm deeply disturbed.
Yeah, no. So, that's the story of Charmy the Bee's lobotomy.
a series where robotic and roboticized, and you got chaos everywhere else. That's the logic it went with.
Yes. I mean, and the thing is, they'd had to change a character's age because of Sega mandates before, because, like, they'd written Amy Rose for years, like she was like, I don't know, like a 6-year-old or something like that. And then Sonic Adventure came out, and they're like, no, she's canonically 12, so we need you to write her a little bit differently. So they had Amy make a wish on a magic ring that she was to be older because she wanted to catch Sonic's attention.
I mean, that would make
and
sense.
like, because, you know, yeah, but like, fucking, I don't know that a 12-year-old would catch many 15-year-olds' attentions.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I know it's only a 3-year difference, but a whole lot happens in those 3 years. I'm just full of so much cursed knowledge, y'all. It's a burden to be me.
Actually, I enjoy it.
I think what it boils down to is that no one expected this comic. Well, you know, Archie Sonic to be as
No, they really didn't.
or as
I mean,
long-lived. Yeah.
When they did the infamously terrible storyline for the end game arc, which was Ken Pender's, issues 47, 48, 49, and 50, they thought that was going to be the end of the comic because the SAT-AM had been canceled, and the games themselves, they were still doing okay, but I think even at that point, the prospect of usurping Mario was starting to seem more like a pipe dream. A pipe dream. It's funny because it's Mario. So Archie was basically preparing to just like wrap it all up and call it a night. And Endgame was supposed to be their way of being like, well, see, at least, unlike the SAT-AM, we didn't end on a cliffhanger. We did resolve some stuff. And then it just kept fucking going and going and going and going. I mean, they killed off Robotnik in Endgame because they didn't think the comic would last much longer, and then had to figure out a way to bring him back, like, 2 years later. Also, Ken Penders tried to kill off Sally in Endgame, so let me tell you. He was making it personal long before I was.
Also,
you follow me? You feel me?
I've been playing Dungeons of Ether, and it turns out that was written by Ian Flynn.
You know, that doesn't surprise me.
What if Tiny and Peachy get married first? Then the third panel is now the second panel, and then he kills his dad.
You know, I wasn't looking at the screen, and now I see what this prompt is.
So does the family tree make sure you have to know that they're their father and mother?
Yeah.
I mean, can you just you switch like the third and fourth panel then?
But,
then
I mean...
fifth panel to sixth, and then have them getting married before the sixth panel. Tiny and Peachy.
Shock. You married your
Nice.
mother.
Haiti and Peachy. Yeah. There we go.
Oh no! It's no, I can't make
Edible.
a pun out of that. Edible. It's edible. You can eat them.
It's an edible
That's
arrangement.
not what I said, but it's close enough.
You can.
Cannibalism is always an option.
I just find these tales of Sonic amusing because I never when I was growing up I said this is gonna last a long time, but how are you gonna make a story about Sonic? And but then you hear all this stuff like Ken Penders and all these character changes and things that did not communicate between the company and all that.
I think IDW.
Like-
Go ahead, sorry.
I'm gonna say something here that's gonna be a very bold claim, but I'm gonna back it up. Endgame has what is quite possibly in the top 5 stupidest comic book plot reveals that has ever happened in the history of fiction. Top 5. Do you want me to explain? Because it's gonna happen whether you want me to or not.
I was gonna say, like,
Jonas is like, do we have a choice? And I'm like, no, you don't.
Captive audience.
Prepare the
Listen,
endgame.
unless Rick shuts me up, y'all have no chance. And I know Rick wants to hear this shit. So
I think
listen,
Rick already knows this stuff. Go ahead.
I mean, listen, Ken Penders is such a great cure for imposter syndrome. Kind of like Elon Musk in that sense. They're both great cures for imposter syndrome. So where do I fucking begin with this? I guess I have to begin with. I guess so. Yeah. So. The Endgame story arc, it's a 4-issue miniseries starting in issue number 47. In issue number 47, the Freedom Fighters, led by Sally, are doing some sort of sabotage mission in...
Sabotage?
Sabotage.
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 Go on.
It's Persian. They're doing a sabotage mission in Robotropolis. You know how they do. You've seen the Sadam. It's like the plot of every other episode. So Sally is climbing up the side of a building. I don't know, to put an explosive in it or something. I don't remember what she's doing. And Sonic is not present. He's off doing something else. He's on some other assignment. So she's climbing up the side of a building, and as she's climbing up the rope, Sonic pops out of a window of this building while other characters are watching through binoculars, and they're like, hey, it's Sonic, what's he doing there? And then Sonic pulls out a knife and cuts the rope that Sally's climbing on. And she falls to her apparent demise. She's unconscious. They take her to a doctor back at Knothole Village, one of Ken Pender's OCs. He's a duck. His name is Dr. Quack. And Dr. Quack pronounces her dead. So, and Sonic comes back and he's like, hey, where did everybody go? What happened to the mission? And Sally's father is like, arrest him for murder. And he's like, the fuck? And they put him on trial for murder.
Extra Life Sonic or something?
See, this is the thing, okay? This is the thing. There are 1,000,001 possible explanations for what they saw. In the course of the comic, in the previous 46 issues, they had seen an evil Sonic from an alternate universe, robots that were made to look and talk just like actual people, to impersonate them. They had seen all kinds of magical effects. They also knew that mind control and hypnosis were things. All of these were potential explanations that nobody considered a possibility, including Ken Penders. Because he ran straight past all of these explanations for the stupidest one he could find.
Okay.
An issue or two before the start of the Endgame arc, they had introduced a character, a black cat named Hershey the cat. And when I say they, I mean Ken Penders. She's one of his OCs too.
Yeah.
And Hershey was dating a member of Lupe the Wolf's wolf pack. His name was Draco. Or Drago? I think it's Draco. Draco approached Hershey with this brilliant secret plan that was going to help the freedom fighters. It was a plan to assassinate Dr. Robotnik's second in command, his nephew, Snively.
Snively. Such an underrated character.
I love Snively.
Indeed.
Snively's the best. So, the plan was she was going to assassinate Snively, but she was going to do it anonymously for some reason. So in order to do it anonymously, he convinced her to don a Sonic the Hedgehog costume. Okay? Step 1. All right? Step 2, he told her that Snively would be climbing up the side of a building on a rope at a specific time. She never questioned why Dr. Robotnik's nephew, his second in command, would be climbing up the side of one of his buildings with a rope instead of taking one of the fucking escalators that presumably exists in the elevators that presumably exists in the building. I guess she just thought that maybe it's part of Snively's exercise routine. I mean, look at his biceps. So Snively was going to be climbing up the rope. She needed to be dressed like Sonic and to cut the rope.
I have so many questions.
The final portion of his plan, because of course we've already figured out by now that Draco is a traitor working with Robotnik. The final portion of his plan was that the Sonic the Hedgehog costume had special electronic devices in the eye cameras that would change the image of anyone it saw into the image of Snively, so that when Sally was climbing up, she saw it as Snively. Again, clones, alternate universe doppelgangers, robot duplicates, hypnosis, mind control, magic, all of these were on the table. This is what Ken Penders went with.
Why did it need to be Sonic that killed Snively, though?
They don't really explain why. I mean, they do establish that Draco and Hershey are in an abusive relationship, which is also a bit of a weird thing to be putting in a comic aimed at, like, 10-year-olds. But
There we go.
He just strong-armed her into it somehow. I don't know. And she went along with it up until she decided she was tired of him by the end of the arc, and she literally knocked him unconscious with a club. He survived that. So... yeah, that was the ultimate Sonic story arc there.
Joker, I assume you saw the Robotnik at TFF.
Yes, I got a picture of him. He was at the Sonic panel.
Oh, I have no doubt.
I was like, she called on him too for one of the questions. You better believe everyone loved that. He was great. I'm like, he was my celebrity sighting.
Did he sound like? Did he talk like Robotnik?
You know, I think he did actually do the voice.
Awesome.
And there needed to be at least one Pingus.
There was he reminded me of a guy at Anthrocon many years ago who was cosplaying as Dr. Weird from Aqua Teen Hunger Force, and he also did the voice.
Nice.
Whenever anyone got pictures of him, and he was carrying around like ears of corn at one point so he could be like, "Gentlemen, corn!" And at one point, he was leaving the dealer's room with a bag, and someone was like, "Dr. Weird, is that corn?" He's like, "No, gentlemen, porn!" He was great. I think about him. And yes, Simon, Ken Penders loves idiot plots. You think the explanation for Sally's assassination is stupid. Wait till I tell you how they exonerate Sonic.
Well, go have at it.
Because he gets tried, he gets convicted, and they're gonna ship him off to prison.
Yeah, Sonic, the one that's been helping countless times over the years.
The one who is obviously, like, super into Sally and vice versa. And like I said, nobody suggested any of these other alternatives that I can remember. No, he's running from Jeffrey St. John, who is Ken Pender's mid-20s OC, who's in love with the 15-year-old Princess Sally. Can't emphasize that enough, because, like, it's just worth emphasizing.
There we go.
So Jeffrey's pursuing Sonic the fugitive style for at least an issue or two, because naturally Sonic escapes. How the hell are you gonna hold him? And eventually,
This is funny.
Anyway, forever.
oh, that's real good.
This is the free space on the bingo card.
Both leave and return.
Well, yeah.
Okay, well,
hard.
that was the thing, I
Incredible.
guess.
Nice.
So hard.
That's the plot of Waiting for Godot, so...
So, at one point, Sonic is trying to escape from Jeffrey St. John, and he's made it all the way to the floating island, I don't remember how, and he's backed off of a cliff, and he whistles for Dulcie the Dragon, who, if any of you are not familiar with the Sat-Am or Archie lore, Dulcie is a character.
Yeah. I remember.
And Dulcie shows up to help Sonic, and then Dulcie drops the biggest, like, absolute ass-pull power you have ever heard of. She...
I remember it.
She shows up. I'm trying to think of how to... This is so stupid. This is so stupid. It rivals the Hershey and the Sonic suit thing for stupidity. She shows up, hears Sonic's story, and is like... Well, dragons have this magical ability. They always know when someone's lying and when someone's telling the truth, and Sonic is telling the truth. And Jeffrey buys it. Now, here are things that need to be elaborated on here. One, this power was never mentioned, alluded to, foreshadowed, even hinted at, ever in the previous 46 issues of this comic book. 2, this power never came up again in the remaining issues of this comic book. It was never used again. 3, Dulcie could have been at Sonic's trial and solved the whole thing instantly, if that's a thing everybody knows about dragons.
Where was she for the whole thing?
I don't know, but she sure showed up instantaneously when Sonic whistled for her.
Aneurysm.
Yeah. Reading Endgame is an aneurystic experience. Fucking Ken Penders, man.
I like how he's. I mean, this was what, like 15 years ago that most of this. I mean, when did?
No, it's longer than 15 years ago.
It's
your art
sort
director.
of. This one is a big stretch there, but it might have been one of those Hasbro situations where they wanted new merchandise for Sonic and they just threw her in with no backstory. I don't know.
Oh, Dulcie?
Yeah.
I think
Dulcie was added to the SAT-AM because they were told they didn't have enough female characters.
Oh yes,
No.
that's right.
the closest thing I have to the sentiment you have about Ken Penders is when there were two instances. There were two times where I cared, like where I was that annoyed at bad writing. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Are you done, Stoker?
No, listen. You have to interrupt me when I'm on this topic. I'll never truly be finished with it.
Okay, so the first instance where I just got really like irritated about this sort of thing was when Gargoyles was on the Disney Afternoon in 1994. The first and second season was written by Greg Weisman, who's a great writer. The third one was taken over by they changed a bunch of the staff of the third season, called it the Goliath Chronicles. It was written by, I don't even know who did it, but it was awful. It was absolutely
Yeah,
awful.
I've heard that.
They screwed up like every single like awesome ongoing plot thread that Weisman had laid out in the series, and it was just garbage, and I was really mad. And then the second time was when Beast Wars finished in 1998, 99 thereabouts, and Hasbro wanted to do a whole bunch of new toys, so they made it into Beast Machines, set it back on Cybertron, and once again hired just like awful writers who did this horrible bullshit where they were like, they did this whole like techno-organic thing where they didn't like, the Transformers didn't transform the way Transformers usually transform anymore. They literally would like stop and like center themselves and have like they would find like their space and say, I am transformed, and then they'd sort of like yeah, they just sort of morph, and I remember being very annoyed at this, like the way the way Stoker feels about Ken Penders. Like I was like, this is bullshit. This is bad writing. That this is completely unfair to the fans, etc., etc.
Well, the writers had just discovered yoga and like were really into it.
I mean, cool, but but yeah, it was awful. I felt like, okay, this is what happens when someone takes over who doesn't get the core premise of the concept, and fast forward 20 years and I look back on it and just kind of chuckle because it's like, yeah, you can't afford to invest that much emotional energy in a fictional world. I mean, people do, of course, but inevitably, okay. Well, let me put it this way: if it's handled by a corporation and it's a franchise that spans multiple incarnations, multiple games, multiple movies, multiple whatever, and it has any staying power at all, then sooner or later the cultural zeitgeist is going to drift, and somebody's going to try and come up with a version that's new and improved for the if nothing else. That's if they don't screw it up sooner. And it happened
gamers.
Yeah, I mean, it's happened before. Alvin and the Chipmunks started in the 50s or the 60s, and there's incarnation before the 80s one that was beloved by me, and and then and on and on and on, and it's sort of like after a point, it's just like, okay, they're gonna mangle it at some point, either with the next version or down the line the reboot, or the continuation 20 years later where the characters are over the hill.
I find myself wondering what it must have been like to be like a kid who grew up in the 50s or whatever with G.I. Joe toys, and then to see in the 80s there are kids with G.I. Joe toys, but now they're fighting like sci-fi supervillains with lasers that didn't exist back then. And
like you've got like Sergeant Slaughter and stuff, and like Cobra Commander turning into a cobra, and then
I mean,
go ahead.
The story of how all that stuff with Cobra happened, right?
I actually don't.
Oh, you don't know where it came from?
I mean,
So-
I vaguely remember some of this. I think you told me some of this, but go on.
Well, it's pretty short. It's pretty short. Basically, G.I. Joe was very popular in like the 50s and stuff. Kind of went away during the Vietnam era because soldier toys weren't super popular then. But they kind of wanted to start bringing it back, so they. Excuse me.
Oh my God, Stoker, look who's in chat.
Who's in chat?
It's cute.
Oh.
Hey, hi.
Hello, Coyote. You get to hear me ranting about my nerd shit.
It's nice to
Coyote
see
dude.
you. That's the art we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, that's our friend that we ran into that we haven't seen, and it's been 84 years. No, but
Good
like,
to
so
see
they
you
wanted
again.
to, huh? Oh yeah, you got to meet her too. That's right.
Yeah.
And so did Rick, and so did Crystal,
Yeah.
and so didn't GC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because GC wasn't there.
Or
You
Ray.
were missed, GC.
Game Cobrant.
Game Cobra.
K
Game-
Cobra. What K Cobra?
Game Cobra absent.
Hey, I'm like on the other side of the planet. Yeah, I have.
Yeah,
a
that's no excuse. Just like tunnel into the earth, like dig a tunnel through the Earth's core. What would
GC
Jules
famous
Verne
for
do?
being Australian.
Okay, you caught me. I'm not the same planet. I'm your next door neighbor. Happy now?
Yeah, it's Game Cobra Australia.
K Cobra, yeah.
So, Stoker,
Huh?
the one question that I'm just going to ask and leave it at that point.
Uh-huh.
Why?
Is is there one specific thing that just made you hate Kinders forever? Or was it just like over time, it just all added up?
As
Was
is
it like a
probably
breaking
obvious. As is probably obvious. The stuff that made me the angriest with him was him fucking with my childhood waifu. Like,
Yes.
There's a
Sally.
lot of stuff I didn't like that he did, but his worst stuff, for me personally, the stuff that always irritated me the most was whenever he fucked with Sally. Trying to kill her off in Endgame, because he really did actually want her to die. Editorial would not let him do it. Editorial and Sega, because at that point in time, Sega was still considering whether or not they wanted to introduce her into the canon.
They seriously need to.
They do.
Yeah.
Like, she's more widely recognized. Of the Sonic adjacent characters who have never actually had a major role in the games, or any role really, that she's only had like one blink and you miss it cameo in Sonic Spinball. She is the most widely recognized, and she was developed before Amy Rose. A lot of people don't know that she was developed before Amy Rose. In fact, if you ever saw the old days when she was colored pink instead of, with the red hair and the brown fur, they actually changed her color from pink because Sega didn't want two pink girls in the cast.
Wasn't she blonde at one point also?
She was also blonde at one point with red hair. She made me think of like some beach blonde or some bleach blonde who'd been out
Bleach
too
blonde?
long and gotten a sunburn with that color combination. But yes, in her very first appearance in the comics, blonde hair, red fur. Second appearance, pink fur, black hair, and they didn't get her switched to her Sat-Am coloration until like issue 16.
We're big nerds, you know.
But yeah, so things he screwed up with Sally. Strike one was him trying to create a love triangle between her, Sonic, and Jeffrey St. John, whom I never liked. He's just... ugh. Second strike was trying to kill her off permanently. Third strike was diminishing her strength as a character as many times as he possibly could, making her play subservient second fiddle to her asshole father when he finally got freed from his extra-dimensional imprisonment, making her become the Psycho X who slapped Sonic in an extremely melodramatic and infamous page that people still talk about to this day. Creating out of whole cloth a long-lost older brother for her just so her role could be further diminished.
Stokes, I really want you to start a YouTube channel just devoted to this stuff. Please do that for me. Will you do that for me?
I could do that for you, Jonas, but so many people are talking about it at this point. But nobody's doing it quite like me.
Right, exactly.
So, but ultimately, the thing I can't forgive him for is he's almost certainly the reason why Sega doesn't want to touch Sally or the other freedom fighters with a 20-foot pole. And there's multiple reasons why. It's not just the lawsuit, which,
Nice.
I mean, for the record, people get confused about who has the rights to Sally, who owns the character. She is owned outright by Sega. She was not created by Ken. He has no claim to her. And neither does Deke, and neither does Archie Comics. She is Sega's and Sega's alone. Same with all the other Freedom Fighter characters. So they could do whatever they wanted to. But the first thing he did was he completely squashed, he smothered an animated Sat-Am movie in the cradle by being himself. Basically, one of the lead writers of the Sat-Am series, a couple of years after its cancellation, a man named Ben Hurst, not Ben-Hur, Ben Hurst, was pitching a Sonic movie, fully animated, based on the Sat-Am concept to an unnamed studio executive. And the executive was receptive. He was interested.
Sonic movie? Who would want to go see Sonic movie? Go on.
Yeah. Then, after he made this pitch, Ben Hurst got a call out of the blue from Ken Penders, whom he had never heard of and knew nothing about because he had not read the comic books. And Ken told him who he was, told him he was a writer on the comics, told him a little bit about some of his contributions to the lore, and said he would like to be involved in this movie if anything went forward with it. And Ben Hurst was like, sure, that's fine. When things advance, we'll talk. Apparently Ken took that as his cue to contact the executive directly without Ben Hurst's involvement. And we don't know what happened in that conversation. All we know is that when Ben tried to reach out to him again, the exec was like, don't ever talk to me again. You and your people stay away from me. So evidently Ken just must have been himself in that conversation and made Ben look like a complete lunatic by association.
Nice.
So that was the first time he killed the Sat-Am. Second time was his frickin' lawsuit, where he took all of his characters and forced a hard reboot of the Archie continuity, which forced Sega to take a closer look at what they were doing. This was also when they decided that Sally needed to start wearing clothes. I also hold that against them.
Clearly.
Listen, y'all. I like my wife who is like I like my bananas. Yellow and with a weird curve shape.
Or you're gonna say with a peel.
No, without a peel. Because, see, it's his clothing is the peel.
They wouldn't be
It's
appealing?
Yeah. No, I like my wife who's like I like my bananas in bunches growing off of trees.
I have questions.
Oh.
Frequently eaten by gorillas.
I have more questions.
Usually a berry, but commonly mistaken otherwise.
Great first guy line.
No, okay, so it's the fallout from the lawsuit with Ken, because Blazecast mentions in the chat. The fallout from the lawsuit is that not only did the rights to Ken's own characters revert to him, but every writer who ever wrote for the Archie Sonic regained the rights to whatever characters they introduced. Everything prior to Ian reverted back to its original creators. So when the reboot came around, they could only use characters that were established in the SAT-AM or were newly created by Ian, or there was another writer who came on afterwards, and I can't remember her name right now. She's the one who created the holographic Lynx version of Nicole. Yeah, basically all the writers got their OCs back. The only one who's attempted to do anything with them really was... Well, no, I can't say that. The one who created Mammoth Mogul actually did try to promote him, but nobody fucking gives a shit about Mammoth Mogul. Have you ever even heard of Mammoth Mogul?
I don't remember that character.
He's like, okay, you want to know what Mammoth Mogul is? Take the origin of Vandal Savage from DC Comics. Swap out the weird meteor with a Chaos Emerald.
Okay.
Swap out the caveman with a woolly mammoth.
Okay.
Let him have some magic powers that linger in addition to the immortality thing. And then in the modern era, dress him in the same suit as the Kingpin from Spider-Man. Boom, Mammoth Mogul.
Look at that right now. He sort of gives me Blizzard Buffalo vibes. Sort of, though.
Yeah, he is... Even that description I gave for him is 100,000 times more interesting than he is as a character. He is the most boring-ass villain. He's one of, like... I don't know. He's just so dull.
So who owns who at this point?
So, Sega owns all of the characters from the cartoons. All of the cartoons. They own all of the characters from the Archie comics after the reboot.
It's easier to say who Sonic or Sega doesn't own.
Yes. So all of Ken Pender's OCs, and there are hundreds of them. He introduced more OCs than anyone else did. So all of the hundreds of them, including Knuckles' entire ridiculous extended family, those all reverted to him. All of the previous writers who introduced one-off characters that people don't talk about, like Mammoth Mogul, or Horizontal and Vertical.
Oh my god.
Like, there are a bunch of, like, little one-off ridiculous nonsense characters. There was a time travel story where they went back to prehistoric times and they met, like, Sonic's caveman ancestor, and he was called, like, Sonug the Bog Hog.
Argnarg the Harchard.
So
It's
I
like
guess...
It's like that one Phineas and Ferb episode.
Yes. Apakakwa! Baki the Apakakwa! But yeah, so whoever created Sonug the Bog Hog gets him. You know, one of my favorite things they had to do with the reboot. Yeah, you're right, Tim Blumage. I also agree that Sonic deserves better. Most Sonic fans are fans not because of what the franchise is, but because of what it could be. And nobody has really done it full justice yet. Which is why I'm announcing my takeover of Sega.
I'll take over Capcom.
You get Capcom. Who wants Nintendo?
Me. I called it. I called first.
Who wants Konami?
I want Nintendo so that I can force them to bring Crystal back into Star Fox and make a Switch title.
Crystal needs to be back in Star Fox, and then she needs her own spin-off, And
Yeah.
you need to put her back in the loincloth suit. In fact,
Yeah.
make it smaller this time.
We need Marcus Buchanan.
I mean,
Oh
they
yeah,
could just
Marcus is pretty cute.
Look,
But
it's not over until Marcus is born.
it's not over till Marcus is born.
No, but like,
Go ahead.
do like, okay, seriously though, Switch Star Fox title, open world, Breath of the Wild style. It'll be great. Shush. It'll be awesome. Yes.
Okay, but how are you gonna cook in the R-wing?
How are you gonna cook? Use the jet engines. You know. That's...
I would
You know
like.
what?
Yes.
I would like if Star Fox had some sort of Colony War story system too. Everybody ever played Colony Wars?
I've heard of it.
I've heard of it. Yeah, never played it.
Story gets worse as you keep on failing, but gets better as you keep on winning. It's pretty sweet.
You want to know what one of the weirdest consequences of Penders' lawsuit on the Archie version of Sonic was? Archie/Sat-Am. Sally technically has, depending on which continuity you're looking at, Sally has 3 different fathers.
I mean, King Acorn's it, and that's all I care about.
So, like, in the cartoon, her father is never given a proper name. He's just, he's King Acorn, he's Sally's father, he's the king. He's not given a name. He's also voiced by Tim Curry, if nobody knew that.
Did know that.
So, Sally's father, the king, voiced by Tim Curry. Remember that because it's actually important later. His design is, he's like way taller than Sonic and Sally and company. He's like human proportions. He towers over them.
Nice.
Then, in the comics, Ken Penders introduced a version of her father, whose name was King Maximilian Acorn.
So this is the one that I am probably the most familiar with.
This version is closer in height to the rest of the Sonic cast. He don't wear no pants like the rest of the Sonic cast. He looks older than the one in the cartoon did, and he's also
KS Emerald.
such an asshole. He is such an asshole. Like, Ken Penders is incapable of writing a father figure who isn't a horrendous dick.
What about
But the thing
Sonic's
is-
Robot Dad.
Well, yeah, Jules was... Jules was his name. Yeah, Sonic's dad was okay. He didn't go...
Yeah, because he
in
was
the-
a sympathy character.
I guess, yeah, because he was roboticized and everything. But, like, Sally's dad is awful. Knuckles' dad is awful. But the thing is, like, you would think that they would be awful, and the point of the story would be like, no, you're awful. But the weird thing is, they're awful, and the point of the story is, yeah, they're awful, but they're still right. And you should listen to them even if they're awful. Which, like...
That's guilt.
Yeah, it's weird. It's so weird. Anyway, so that version of her dad is horrible. And this is also the version where Ken introduced her mother, Queen Alicia Acorn, and her brother, her long-lost brother that nobody ever talked about before, Prince Elias Acorn. And then Ken's lawsuit and the reboot happened, and they had to get rid of King Max because technically that version of King Max was Ken's character.
Such garbage.
So, when they did the reboot, they created an all-new version of her father that was closer in terms of design and proportions to the rest of the characters, more in line with the comic style than the Sat-Am version was, but he had, like, the Sat-Am version's, like, style of facial hair and everything, and he was a nicer
There we
guy. And because the character was voiced by Tim Curry in the cartoon, they named this version King Nigel Acorn.
Oh my god. I'll do this with my hands.
Smashing!
This is a very silly story here.
Wait, hold on.
Which one? The one that you're playing or the one that I'm telling?
Well,
Yes.
both, but the one that I'm playing.
Amazing.
We got some Farrah Phoenix fans in the chat.
I mean, I'm one, so.
Listen. The solution is Fox gets 2 wives. One of whom looks suspiciously like his mother, which raises a lot of questions.
Farrah was created like for Nintendo Power. Okay.
Yeah, well, you know what? Fox can still have 2 girlfriends.
Stoker,
It's
I have
2023,
to
Mom.
ask, since it just came out, new
Oh, is it done?
Star Fox animation?
Oh yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
Ah, okay, well, I won't show you a thing.
It's I mean, like, I'm gonna watch it. It's just like it's 40 minutes long, and I'm one of those people who tends to watch like 110 10-minute YouTube videos instead of one 40-minute one.
Hang on one sec. Rick, is there any like bonus content, 100%er stuff, anything else? Is that it?
Wait, have you
Why
finished
is
the
there
game?
a Library of Babel? Yeah. Well, it's gonna give me the credits, so.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
Huh.
wow. Mazel tov.
Too good.
Anyway, sorry. Go on.
And sorry, what were you saying?
What were you saying?
What was I saying? What were any of us saying?
Have any of you
Let's
watched
see.
the Lackadaisy trailer?
I was just gonna say.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The entire pilot, yes.
Oh, is it a pilot?
Is the full pilot out?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just fine. It's the
Tell I
pilot.
haven't been paying attention very much.
You're like, have you seen the trailer? It's almost as long as an episode.
The 30-minute
Keeping up
trailer.
with that comic since it started, basically.
I've been following him since before it started.
Oh yeah, I used to.
I'm
read,
kidding. I'm kidding. I just remember when she was posting on Yerf.
Yeah, I was just saying. I remember when she was on Europe.
Yeah, I remember when she was posting all that like fantasy art for that comic she was going to make. I loved that.
Yeah, and now we got like Lily Wachowski being like, "Go check out Lackadaisy."
Yeah, we live in very interesting times, don't we?
Yeah.
You read all the weird questions she gets. She drew them out as a comic sprite panel. It's basically Mordecai murdering people.
What?
Hell yeah.
Okay, sorry, my brain was picturing like
Mordecai from regular show.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, Margaret.
No, not that Mordecai.
Mordecai is actually my favorite character.
Victor is mine. Mordecai is
too.
right up there.
I like Benson. No, anyway.
Right.
So is that really the end of the game?
Yes.
Yeah.
That really is it.
Feels like it was short, but I mean
It
that's
was.
cool. Yeah.
So
When you're as smart as Rick.
what do we do now?
Well,
It's
Same thing we do every
11:45,
night.
so we end stream.
Try to
yeah.
take over the
Or we could do a little dance.
Can I do it with my fingers? Here we go.
Thank you for the little noises,
I'm not done.
Jonas.
I'm not done. Wait, here comes the big finish. Okay, now you can finish up.
I'm bouncing this bottle on my head. Watch everybody be amazed. There.
So it's good.
That's
Very
pretty
well.
good at it.
Oh, okay, we don't have time for Armello. That's usually even our shortest match is like what 45 minutes
No,
typically.
yeah,
Yeah,
we
No,
would-
yeah.
no,
15
def-
till we'd normally stop anyway.
Yeah,
So.
we
Yeah.
normally wrap it up around midnight central. But thanks for coming.
Yep.
Actually,
Hope that was as socializing as you needed, Rick.
Yes. I am exhausted.
okay, all right. Yeah. Well, we look forward to seeing more of y'all. Hopefully things will, be all
Better on the
squared-
computer front at some point.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
hopefully.
But in the meantime, we got this, and this is pretty good.
Indeed. Caramello.
Oh, we should rate somebody. Hang on, let me see who's going.
Jonas, we all know who you're going to say already.
Well, no,
It depends on if they're online.
Well, it's Slush. They're the only one.
Well, I'll just raid somebody who's playing Resident Evil 4 right now.
Hey, fun fact! I was just looking
Flush
at
is
Mr.
not playing Resident Evil 4 tonight.
I was just looking at Mr. Mind's Wikipedia page, and it turns out he was tried at Nuremberg once.
Mhm.
Stoker.
Yes, Jonas.
Time for bed. Time for bed. I've gone too far now.
I didn't write it.
I'm still blaming you.
I am the messenger.
I'm still blaming you. This is your fault retroactively. Get out.
Okay, all right. We've gone too far at this point.
We'll see
We're
y'all-
ready to raid.
We'll see y'all soon. Take care, folks.
Good night,
Good to
everybody.
raid.
Good
Good
night,
night,
everybody.
everybody.
Have a good night.